Is there a universe outside of Bravo?
Did we miss the training manual to our 30s?
No. Are they for real?
Thank God for our girlfriends. Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Structured Chaos with Kelly and Kyra. We have another one of our topic episodes for you today. So, no reality TV, just straight up reality.
Yep, we are back at it, and we're talking about friendships today. So, adult friendships, and it's can be kind of rough out there. I mean, I feel like friendships in general, I don't know how you've experienced them throughout your life, but like I feel like being a girl, throughout life, friendships as girls can be hard in different stages of life. And it goes through phases. But I think everyone can agree that like making friends as an adult is challenging to like make friends. But also just like maintaining friendships, because oftentimes we're at such different stages as maybe our friends that we've had for a long time, or, you know, just kind of going through different things, handling things differently, managing things differently, maybe moving away from our friends, all kinds of things like that. So I think it's a topic we both kind of wanted to talk about because it's something that we've both experienced, and most people have experienced. Well, hopefully you've experienced friendship of some sort. So yeah, let's get into it.
So, yeah, I mean, you know, hopefully you have a friend in life that you can.
If you don't, we'll be your friends. That's what we're here for.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's like a layered conversation, and like kind of to some of your points, dictating off of life experiences and, you know, do you still live in the same place that you grew up in, or, you know, things like that are going to, you know, play a role. I will say, I know that I am incredibly unique and lucky in the sense that I grew up with the best people. And we are all still friends. We have been friends for over 25 years. There's a group of like 17 of us, boys and girls. And then I have like two other really close sets of friends as well. And so that kind of like handicapped me a little bit for life, because I have never known anything other than really great friends. And I'm telling you, like, and it's not because I'm not aware. It's not because I now think that this is the norm. I know that it is not the norm, but like my friends and I don't argue. We haven't argued. There's not been fallouts in our groups. Like, so I moved to San Diego when I was 24 years old. And prior to that, like, I literally only knew one thing. I only knew like really close people who we all can laugh and we all get along, and we have gone through life together. You know, we have gone through deaths. We have gone, you know, young, like we've had friend deaths, we've had parent deaths at a young age, like we went through breakup, you know, like all these big life things. And like we have never had a falling out, and we still vacation together to this day. And so like I had this unrealistic idea of friends or friendship. And then I moved here, and like, first of all, East Coast and West Coast are so vastly different in people in general, let alone like then getting into like friends. So I just feel like, I mean, my friends are my family, and I never had this idea that like you couldn't just tell your friend straight up how you're feeling, without them being offended or like having a fallout because of it. Like I just was never exposed to that before. And so like my friends and I like we're very, very honest with one another. And if we don't like something, we say something. And it's not because we don't love the person. It's because it's in fact because we love the person. And we're all very invested in each other's lives. And so I think that was like a real shell shock for me, that like I almost felt like in my early years in San Diego that like when I was finding friends, it was with they had expectations. Like
Mm.
there's like a, oh, well, I did this for you. So what will you do for me? And like I have just never experienced anything like that. So that was like a learning lesson for me. Or like, I remember like when I had first moved here and met people and like we'd be like, oh, like we're like, let's go get dinner on Tuesday. And so on Monday, I would be like, okay, well, where did you want to go? And they were like, oh, were we really doing that? And it's like, well, yes, because we said we were going to. And like, I, again, just had never experienced that before. So I think
Mm-hmm.
like, and I will also say, I'm super lucky that I'm a hairstylist because I'm surrounded by a group of people all day that are essentially like my same age. So like that's a lot, and like dealing with like the general public. So you're able to like network and meet people. I can't imagine like you work in an office, like that's like it shrinks down the options of meeting people like so drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So I think as an adult, when you move somewhere, like it's so different meeting friends.
Yes, I can attest to that. I had a hard time meeting friends when, well, I mean, not that I had a hard time, but I mentioned this, I think in our Get to Know Us episode, the reason that I started working at the hair salon that we met at was to make friends and basically meet people around my age, because I work at a school, and when I originally moved here and started working there, the office or the department that I worked in, there was really no one my age. I mean, basically I'm closer to the students' age, which are college age students, than I was to like my colleagues. And I had that same experience at the previous institution that I worked at in the Bay Area. And so that's why I had worked at like a restaurant on nights and weekends to meet people my age, to like, that's how I formed my friendships post college. Because up until that point, I'd always had school to meet friends, like you have elementary school, high school, and then I immediately had gone into college. And then after college, when I got into the workforce, which was at a university, like I said, I was closer to the students' age than I was to the people I was working with. And so it's hard to make friends because I'm like, some of my friends went off to jobs where they were working around tons of people that were their age. And so that was a natural fit for them. Or um, they were in the same area that they had grown up in, so they were still with the people that they knew their whole life, or whatever it was. So I started working at the salon, made some friends. I also joined some Facebook groups that were associated with like podcasts that I listened to that were like girl groups, and they did meetups. And that's kind of how I made some friends when I first moved to San Diego. But again, it's hard because like you said, people are coming from all over the place, and some people are flaky, some people are, just everyone is different. It's just like dating. Everyone has different personalities,
Mm-hmm.
different experiences, different perspectives, different expectations. And it's just hard to meet those people you click with. I also have very good friends from like when I lived in Alaska, and those people are very near and dear to me. I'm comfortable with them. Those are my people. And so when you meet new people and you're like, oh, this is like a different type of friendship, it just feels like this is not the type of friendship I'm used to. Um, it's just interesting to navigate that, as well as for me at least, I was like, I'm navigating, a new city. I'm navigating like just growing up and like coming into my own and like a lot of things at once. So I think there's lots of challenges that come along with that, and learning how to accept other people for who they are, but also learning like that you don't have to, accept certain things. Like I said, just like in dating, like it is okay to be like, I don't want to have this in my life. And there are things like friendship breakups and things like that that don't get talked about as much as like romantic breakups do, but sometimes hurt worse and are harder to deal with. So I think, yeah, we'll talk about it all because
I think that you made a really good point, that I think, and again, back to your point, it goes both for friendship and dating. Like as we get older, there is this like not confidence shift, but there is this acceptance, I think, within us that we're like, it's okay to walk away. It's okay to realize and set that boundary that this is not serving us anymore. And for myself, like I need to leave. And it's not because I wish badly for the person or, anything negative. It's just like, I'm okay leaving. Like this doesn't feel good anymore.
yeah. And someone doesn't have to have done something. There doesn't have to be like this huge blow up. It's like, this doesn't feel good. I feel drained after spending time with this person. And I have experienced that with friends. And it doesn't mean they're like a horrible human being or like, they deserve the horrible thing. It's just like, I don't have to keep making time for them in my life because it's just not a good fit. So,
it's so interesting. I had someone say to me, I was like, you never ask how I am. I am here for you day in and day out on repeat. I can't tell you the last time you asked how I was. And their response to me was, why would I ask you? You go around talking about how happy you are. And she's like, and I wish that I could be that way. And I wish that I loved my life so much. And I was like, yeah, that's true. I do wake up happy every single day and I do love my life, but that doesn't mean things don't happen to me. That doesn't mean that I don't have hardships. I just don't let those hardships dictate my mood, which like I very much recognize as one of my superpowers. Like it is not something that I take for granted and don't recognize that not everyone has the ability to do that. But I am just, like I said, it is my superpower that I do not let things get me down. Like I really am genuinely a very happy person. And I was just shocked by her response because I'm like, so just because it doesn't seem like things are going on doesn't it means that you shouldn't check on me?
Yeah, that is interesting. I think it's also a good reminder to people, myself included, because I think I see both sides of it. Like, I feel like it's a good reminder to me in the sense that, like, for you in particular, I'm like, even like I talk to you every single day, and I definitely can relate to the thing that that particular person said of thinking like, yeah, you always seem good. Like, I might not ask you every day, like, how are you today? But like, we talk every day, and I think you seem good. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't actually ask. And then on the flip side of it, I feel similarly to you in the sense that I have even sometimes close friends that will say things to me like, oh my gosh, like you just like are living your best life, or oh my gosh, like you look like you're having so much fun. And I am. And what they're referring to is what I post on social media.
Right.
And not to say that those things that I'm posting are not real.
Right.
But in general, social media is not real. That is, I mean, that everyone knows that. And if you don't know that, you should. Not to
We're
say
here to
that
break the news for you if you
right.
don't.
And that's coming from I mean, content creation is one of my businesses, and I love doing that. That is a passion of mine. And I spend a lot of time working on content, making content. I love doing it. But in those moments and things that I'm posting do happen, and I am having fun doing them, and they're happening and all these things. But that is not my entire life. So when people see that, and yes, I am having so much fun and these things are happening, but there's other things happening in my life that just because I'm not posting them doesn't mean, oh my gosh, she's living her best life. She's having the most amazing year of her life. It's like, but if you would ask me, you would know there's actually a lot of other stuff going on in my life that I'm not going to talk about online because it's private. But just because I'm not posting myself crying online doesn't mean that I don't cry, you know? And so it's just, it is interesting that, like, even though I experience that, I'm also like, but at the same time, I'm not necessarily always asking my friends every single day, how are you doing? So yeah, it's a good reminder.
And so, yeah, I think like recently, well, I guess it's not really recent, but within like the last 5 or 6 months, I did have to take a break from a friendship. I would say like I don't know if it's both a strength and a weakness. I think so. I really invest in my friends. And it's just something that comes natural to me. I will always be there for someone. I will always like try to champion you and cheer you on and find the positive. And, you know, when you're feeling down, like I will absolutely help you see the silver lining in things. And I just like truly want the best for my friends. And I think that to a fault I get too invested, and that is because again going back to like how I grew up, like that's all I was ever surrounded by. All of us were invested in one another. All of us were championing one another. But I really do but it has served me in the negative because I am so invested, you know, and I listen like for a job, like my career. Yes, I'm doing hair, but I'm listening to people. So I really listen when people say things and I remember it. And so I am a friend who is going to hold you accountable. So if you say, "Oh, I hate the color purple. Ugh, I would never wear purple." And all of a sudden you're only wearing purple, I'm going to be like, "I thought you hated purple." You know, and like that's like a bad example, but you know, like I'm gonna hold you accountable for the things that you say. So I had this situation where we were really close and they were going through something heavy for about a year and a half that from day one I was a part of. And while I didn't necessarily agree with what was happening, I supported my friend and I listened to my friend and I understood their perspective on it, you know. And it wasn't my life, so okay, you know what I mean? Like I don't have to agree with it. Um and I mean, every single day I was there for this person and listening to them and, you know, going through things with them. And along the way, I found out, you know, they were kind of keeping some things from me because they knew I was going to have an opinion, which we all know we don't tell our even our closest girlfriends something because we know that they're gonna not agree with us, you know. And I think you had said it too, like when you were going through your situation, like you didn't tell anyone because you knew your friends were going to say something. So, and it's like we know that we are women, we are people, like we are adults. So it's like if you're not telling your best friend something, it's because you know what you're doing is probably not what you should be doing, but you just don't want to hear it. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
So then they did this thing to me where they completely like bamboozled me and like put me in this scenario unknowingly. And I was just and I couldn't even react because of where we were. And I was like shell shocked, like really shocked
You were
because,
blindsided.
oh, beyond
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I was like, what's happening right now? It can't even be what's happening right now because there's no way this would be happening right now. And it in fact was happening. And then I went on vacation with them a day later. So I couldn't even say anything because we were going on vacation. So what am I going to do? Ruin this vacation, which I guess it was ruined anyway because of the energy. But I was not in the wrong at all. And I didn't even say anything. So it wasn't even like this person did this thing, I reacted, and now they're mad at my reaction. Like I literally didn't even say anything. And then I just waited. They never tried to have a conversation with me about it. They flipped a switch and became a completely different person. Like it takes every part of me every day to like practice patience being around them because I'm like, God, you are so fake. Like, God, like I can't even believe it. And like if everyone around you knew like the real situation, like, okay. But I just was so hurt
Mm-hmm.
because like I couldn't believe after everything that I have done for this person and everything that I had said like to this person and how much I was there for them that like they even if they didn't agree that I was upset, didn't even have the decency to approach me to have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even like, are you okay? Like, I'm sure you probably don't like, what just happened. Um, Literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was just like, it still is like really hurtful to me. Like, it's really hurtful because any person that I call my friend, I really truly mean that. And I
Mm-hmm.
do want the best for you. And someone that I was that close with, and like that was like just like a big reality check of just how people are different,
Mm-hmm.
how people, handle things and behave in life. Um, but it's just something that I can't relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think anytime something happens to me that I can't relate to, it's that much more jarring for me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have like reference or
Mm-hmm.
experience in it. Um, and it's interesting because like I like shortly after it happened, like looked back at like my journal entries because I'm a big journaler.
Mm.
And I saw that like my life was so chaotic during
Mm.
that time.
Mm-hmm.
And that and not because I felt that way during the time and not because I would have changed something in it, none of that. Or that I was unhappy in any way, but it was interesting reading back, my journal entries and like realizing like I wasn't focusing on myself. I was so invested in this person. And because I cared and I wanted to be, and it was a choice. They weren't asking that. Um, but then like the way my life has kind of like evolved for me since then is like really interesting and telling. Um, but it's hard because when we are adults, we do have less and less friends. And so when something like that happens, it's like, well, that's one more friend off the table. And which again is fine because like you don't have the characteristics that I'm looking for in a lifetime, like, friend. But that was a rough one for me.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's clear how much you cared about this person and how hurtful it is. And it's just always a disappointment when you feel like it feels like, oh, I wasn't even worth like a conversation or whatever, even though that's not true because clearly you are. worth that and much more, but it's just, that's how it feels. So, I mean, it's nice that you can look back and see the journals. I was going to ask, like, if you have like a way of coping with stuff like that. And so I have always like wished I was a journaler. I've tried it out
No,
sometimes
I
and I'll
feel
go
like
through
you'd be a
phases.
great journaler.
I wish I was, because I have so much
Yeah.
up here that I'm like, getting it out would be nice. I go through phases with it. But I think that's nice to be able to like look back and see like, okay, I had like a lot of stuff going on. And just to kind of reflect on that and see how far you've come. And it's okay to feel disappointed and sad and upset by it, because that's what it is. It's disappointing and it's sad and upsetting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's just what it is. And other people
And I
can be
think that
disappointing.
like growing has shown, like maturing has shown me like you you don't have to be right. You know, I that is one thing that I at personally is a life thing that I am always actively working on, is not having to be right. Um I think for me it was like they think that I'm upset for an entirely different reason than I actually am. And so
Mm-hmm.
they've like created this story in their head of why they think I'm upset. And it's completely opposite of why I'm actually upset.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but again, that could be solved through a conversation that never happened. And then it
Mm-hmm.
goes back to the expectations of our friends. And like, if you are around me, I do expect a certain thing. I'm someone like, and this is again, this is personal. This is not to say that what I do or feel is correct. I have really high expectations of my friends, and I have high expectations because it helps me always be better. Because if you are my friend, then I am surrounding myself with you. So if you are not growing or moving in the way in which I would like to for myself, then it hinders my growth.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I have had to distance myself from people that aren't, as go-getter as me, or, always working to grow or being consistent or being dependable, or kind of just like sometimes even as simple as like having street smarts or awareness of like how real life works, things like that. And I am someone who is very capable. Like I will shut you off. Like and I'm that way in both friendships and relationships. Like I'm very, very, very good. I don't know actually if it's healthy or not, but like I can stop talking to you. Like I'll let you know why, but I will stop talking to you and never look back.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that has bit me in the ass at some points, but it always ends up being the right thing for me.
Right. Which is most important, what you have to look out for. I think in my case, I am an empath, which for people who don't know what that means, it is complicated, but basically, I take on a lot of people's emotions and feelings. And so if someone, in like the simplest form, like if someone's telling me a sad story or whatever, um someone who's not an empath, like obviously you can feel like, oh, that's so sad, like I feel sad. I like really like take on that emotion myself as well. And so if you are an empath and if you have a lot of people in your life who either have like tons of chaotic energy, or they have lots of things going on that, I don't want to say like that are sad, but just like lots of things that require your energy, it can be draining, because when they're going through things and telling you things, I'm not explaining this very well, but
you take on other people's shit and you take it
I
on
do.
very, very heavily. So if someone is not in the emotional state that is like productive for you, then it's a lot harder for you because you're absorbing all of that.
Right. And in my career, I am naturally doing that at work all day. And there are circumstances that I'm in where I'm in very heavy conversations at work. So I'm naturally absorbing energy at work and taking on very heavy things. And then, so when I'm also doing it in my personal life, it's hard. And like sometimes I don't have anything left for myself. So I do have to be aware of that and the people I have around me. And that's not to say no one around me can have any issues because I don't have, like, that's not the case. But
if you're not perfect, don't try to be Kelly's friend.
but I do often, it is an issue when, specifically in dating. I date people who I like end up in cycles where I'll like get sucked into like feeling bad for like leaving a situation and, you know, get sucked back in. And like I just end up in not great situations because I have empathy for people and things they're going through, which can be very draining, I guess, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
So because of all of that, I have tried within the past year specifically to like be aware of that with, you know, all relationships in my life and try harder to like not necessarily set boundaries in a way where I'm like actively telling people like I need like space away from you or something, but just within myself to be like, I don't have to immediately respond to this person's text or whatever. It doesn't make me a bad person, and I don't have to always be available for this thing. And it also makes me more aware, like, I'm always available for this. Are they always available for me? Are they ever available for me? Are they like literally ever asking in return how I'm doing or what I'm doing, or is it always about them and what's going on with them? And am I always feeling just drained and exhausted after spending time with them or after talking to them and getting nothing in return? And it's not about like, oh, I'm only friends with you and like, what am I getting in return? But at the same time, any relationship you have in your life is an exchange in some form.
Absolutely.
Of energy or friendship or love or whatever. So that's what I mean when I say, what am I getting in return? Like, if you're not even giving me love and support in return, then, well, clearly this is not a two-way friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been working on that a lot this past year, just for myself and my mental health. And Kyra knows out of like, out of the few people in my life who have been around me a lot this year, that I've just had so many things going on this year, like just so many different things that require my attention, that I am oftentimes feeling drained. And that's just on like an average day without anything extra.
Right.
So then when the extra stuff does happen, I need like support. And I need to have friends and people that I can rely on, and not people in my life who are going to drain me or make me feel guilty or bad or whatever. And so, yeah, basically I've had to take breaks from people too, or just kind of consciously be like, I have to set a boundary for myself. And it doesn't make me a bad person to not immediately respond to someone who has reached out to me for whatever. And I think that's important, because I often do feel bad if someone asks me a question. I feel like, oh my God, I have to immediately reach out, or I have to immediately respond. And I'm always kind of, I think that's part of our world nowadays with texting and email. I'm always like, oh, I have to like
available.
immediately.
Like there's a way that I could respond, but like sometimes I just don't have time. But like it would appear that I could just respond to this person. But if I have 75 other people that are also having that expectation on me, like that's why I can't do it.
Right.
And that's okay.
Yes. And so, yeah, it's a work in progress, but I have noticed a change in myself this year with just kind of like being more aware and being like, okay, let me keep some of this like energy for myself and
Yay.
not like just give all, because I have a lot of good energy and like I love my energy, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like always giving it away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why don't I just like keep a little for myself?
Absolutely. And I think that like that actually plays into like what I was saying to you, like with myself, like who I am as a friend and like the expectations that I have is like I felt and like reading these journal entries back, it's like, wait, like I was giving all of my energy to this. And again, because I chose and wanted to and had no
Hmm.
problem with it, but like I deserve some energy for me.
Hmm.
And I'm the first one to tell my friends how they can be better. And I truly like genuinely want to. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this, you could do this. And like, let me help you with it. Let me help you. Which to your point, who's asking me that? No
Hmm.
one. Well, I do. I do have like my good core people that do that for
Hmm.
me. Um, but it's also, yeah, it's like I spent so much time trying to help build my friends up that like I'm like leaving myself behind
Right. We have to
in the
be the
process.
friend to ourselves.
Hmm.
And yeah,
And once I started to, it's been wonderful.
exactly. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think just like adult friendship because when you're younger, there is no expectation. Like you
Hmm.
can have as many fallouts with people and it's not gonna matter. But it's like my people are my people and like you want to go through life with them. And when something happens, like it's hard. And then on top of, well, shoot, like, can I replace them? Like, where am I going to meet another person?
Hmm.
Like how, like, if you only have two friends and you have a fall, like, then what? Do you get a new job to meet people?
I know. Well, in my
Do you
life,
revert?
yes.
Do you revert back to Kelly's ways?
Add another job. Um, so I mean, yeah, when you're younger and everyone's pretty much on the same playing field as far as like, sorry, there was a fuzz on my hand.
Sensory problems.
When you're young, everyone's on the same playing field as far as like you're you go to school, like you're in elementary school or high school or whatever, you might play a sport, but you're kind of just in the same phase of life. And then after high school, everything goes everywhere. So for me specifically, I went from high school to college. I moved out of state. And I have my closest friends from back home are in different phases of their life. And I know a lot of your friends, different phases. So you and I uniquely are in our 30s, single, no children, living in San Diego, um, living as the lives that we do is
Freely.
very, very different than our friends, most of our friends.
Mhm.
And although we both have some single girlfriends as well, a lot of our friends, I mean, obviously we both have guy friends too, but I'm speaking more
Female friendships.
female friendships. Um, my closest female friendships from when I was younger, they are married and have multiple children. So it's like the phase in life that they're at, which I would is kind of like the norm nowadays and what
Mhm.
I expected would be my life when I was younger at this age. I, thought that I would be there too. It's not easy to maintain close friendships when you're in such different phases and not living in the same place. So, and when I say it's not easy, I would say for me specifically and these particular friends that I'm talking about, it's easy in the sense that we're very close and we're very good at communicating and we talk all the time and like we're obsessed with each other. So it's not hard in that sense, but it's hard and there can be challenges with that because it's like my life is so drastically different from theirs that if we didn't have a strong foundation, I mean, you can't maintain a friendship if you're not both committed to having it.
I think that you nailed that right there. Cause what I was going to say is like, I'm really lucky that my friends here in San Diego, like, don't
Mhm.
have kids and aren't married. I think like one of my friends, literally one of my close friends is married, but
Mhm.
no children. And then she's my best friend. She'll say she's not, but she's my best friend. Uh, um, but yeah, so like I can do whatever I want here. No problem. My friends back home, I will say to your exact point, I if we did not have the foundation that we had, it might be very different. Although I will say, like, I am impressed by my friends who are moms every single day because you do hear, about mom guilt, and I hear it from my clients, and I remember last year, all of my girlfriends from back east, they all live in different places, most in Connecticut, but some other places. They all came here. And I just remember I was so very impressed because they all have, if not one, two kids. And one of my friends had just had a baby 6 weeks prior, her second baby. No problem leaving. They have incredible husbands that are so supportive. They were not on their phones the whole time talking to their kids.
Mm-mm.
They were not, feeling bad that they weren't with their kids. Of course, they love their kids. They would call them every
Mhm.
single morning, they would call them every single night. But I just remember, like, I just looked at them and I was like, I'm so grateful for you guys because I don't
Mhm.
have a kid. And when I go on vacation, it is just a vacation, and I can just let loose and have fun. And I don't have any guilt of someone that's not here. And I just
Mhm.
remember I was like, God, I fucking love my friends so much. Like, they
Mhm.
are everything that I aspire to be when I am a wife and a mom, and like that you still remember who you are, and you still
Mhm.
remember that you're your own human, and you're an individual, and like you deserve to have fun just as much, and that doesn't make you a bad mom or a bad spouse. And I love it. And I think, like, to your point too, like when I go home and I'm with my friends, and like I said, every single one of them has a kid, except for one, like my very, very, very best friend. I have two best friends I've been friends with since kindergarten, and one has a kid, one doesn't. But other than us, like everyone has children. And it's fun. Like, because none of my friends here have kids, like I get to like seamlessly like just like go and be Auntie Kyra when I'm home, and I
Mhm.
get to like love on them, and it's so fun, and I get my fulfillment, and it's just like natural. And because we're all friends, like it's a group thing. So it's not like I have to be here, 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 even though I still do. But it's like nice, and I get to do that, but it's such a different life than I have here. And if I did live back home, still being the one without kids, I'm so sorry. Two of my friends don't have kids. Sorry. But she's gonna start her journey at some point. So um, but yeah, I think it would be very different. I think I would feel very different. And I think that my options would be different too, because it's like I could go to a nine o'clock dinner if I want here. But if I
Mhm.
lived back home on a regular basis, I wouldn't be able to, because my friends wouldn't be able to, because the realities are the realities.
Yeah. It's I have very similar I have some of my friends here are married, and then I have my one friend has a child, but she's single. So she has a daughter, but she's a single mom. So
It's even harder.
yeah, so it's what oh my god. I mean, any parent, God bless, you are just doing it like I could not imagine. Um and then I have a friend who's married and they just had a baby, but most of my like close friends that I spend time with here are single, like my friends in San Diego. So that's like my day-to-day life. And then my friends from back home, which when I say back home, I have like my
Various
three
states.
closest friends. Yeah, they're in different states. So, but same thing last summer. Well, I guess it was 2 summers ago now. All three of them came for my birthday. My birthday's very, very special to me. They made it happen. They all one of them has three kids, one of them has two, and then the other one at the time had one. And they all came for a concert. Like, we all had so much fun. And that's not only is that a lot of money, like for them to figure out like to take away from their
Mhm.
family, but just time and, you know, organizing with the husbands and the, you know, whatever. It's
I don't
just
feel bad. Y'all are on dual income households.
one of my friends is a single mom. Like it's, you know, they made it
Mine
work.
is her. Mine is her.
And yes, and I just and two of my friends, they're stay-at-home moms, so they're not on dual incomes. Like
Mm-mm.
they're, you know, they're doing their thing, and I just felt very blessed, and I just like love them. And but like you said, then I make it a point to go visit them, and I get to be Auntie Kelly, and I love their children so much, and that's so fun for me, you know, getting to be that role in their life and seeing them as mothers is like so special to me. And they're like amazing moms. My best friend, her oldest is 13. And like, I mean, I've known him since the day he was born. It's like crazy. So
Yeah.
it's just the way that like me and her met the first day of high school, and our lives have been drastically different. Like our whole life has been so different, but we've remained close. And that's a testament like just to our friendship. But seeing her and like raising her kids and everything and being able to be a part of their lives, and they've been able to see, you know, our friendship and how special it is. And it's just nice because like you said, like if I lived near them, I might feel like not left behind, but maybe differently. But I love my life in San Diego. And yes, of course, I do want to get married. I want to have a partner. I still don't know if I want to have children, but I love the relationship that I have with my friends' children is so special to me. So I get to have
Mhm.
that still in my life. And I think if I lived in the same place as them and wasn't at the place where I would like met my person, and I think it would be harder for me. But since I'm here and there's more of my friends that are single, it's a little bit more like, okay,
Yeah.
you know, I have more single friends here. But I think that if we're both just like really lucky that we have our close friends from growing up that like know us to our core
Mhm.
and that make the effort that we make.
Totally.
Um, and obviously that we both have our close friends here as well that we've met, because that's super important too. But I think adult friendships are just like really hard. And I think you're always going to meet new friends along the way, and maybe meet some, lose some. And, you know, some people are just meant to be in your life for like a specific season,
Mhm.
or, you know, just certain times, and you meet them and you kind of spend some time with them. But those core people are always going to be there.
Totally. Totally.
Mhm.
And it baffles me when I hear that people don't have close girlfriends. Like, also, like, not that I'm like always on the hunt for new friends, but like a big red flag is if you don't have any friends. Like, if you don't have any, like, I remember that I lived with this girl when I lived in San Diego, but like when I had first moved here, and she's from California and like not from very far from here. And she was in a sorority and everything, and she did not have any friends. And I mean, people had things to say that knew her also when they found out that I was going to live with her. And they were like, wow, that's interesting. I'm anxious to see how that goes. And it's just so funny because like that to me is a red flag. Like if you don't have any childhood friends, or not even childhood, like, you know, high school, whatever, like any friends from childhood to adolescent, you know, that you weren't meeting in your 20s, 30s, like if you have no one, like that is a red flag for me. And I'm just someone who is such a girl's girl, and like
Mhm.
I depend so much on my friends that
Yeah.
like if you don't have that, like how
Yeah. Well, I think some people really just aren't girls, and we are girls.
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, if you're not a girl's girl,
Learn,
yeah,
listen to us a little bit and maybe like shift some things in life.
yeah, because
I could
we
not
like,
get by. I could never get by in life without my girlfriends.
no,
Like me, oh my God, like me and my best friend, like we don't ever get to see each other, obviously, because we live across the country, but like I love her so much. And like her daughter, her daughter. Oh, also, I think it's like really fun for us, side note, that we live in California because we will forever be the cool aunts that live in California to these kids. And like, sorry guys, we're just better than you. Sorry. I always tell that to my friends. I'm like, well, when your kid hates you, they're still going to love me and think that I'm the coolest.
Yeah. We're just
Sorry. Just,
I know.
I can't help it. Can't help that I live in California and I'm so cool to your kid. Like, they're right. They're right.
Just over here living my best life. I know. But
yeah, I think this is like a really important conversation to have. And we would love to hear your feedback and how you guys feel about friendships. And like, have you ever had any big fallouts? How did you handle them? What do you look for in a friend? How, like, if you're moving to another city, if you need some tips, like, let us know because we both have experienced that.
mm-hmm. Yes, and we could definitely go in more into like good tips for making new friends because I feel like we just kind of like went over a couple and mine weren't really like good advice because getting a new job is like what I did, but I wouldn't necessarily
Honestly, if you don't have
say
any friends, just start applying for jobs.
just make yourself so busy you like don't have time to feel lonely. It's like basically what I did. It's like not the best coping mechanism, but like come to me for more tips. Masterclass coming soon.
Your bank account will be happy though.
Exactly.
We're a finance podcast.
You won't even need therapy. So we're also going to save you money again. Finance tips.
Girl math.
Yes. You're becoming a girl's girl. You're saving money. You have 12 jobs.
Okay.
You don't even have time to think at this point. You're journaling.
I was gonna say, but if you could find time, you should journal.
But you've taken on everyone else's feelings, so we don't really have time to sort through our own thoughts. But yeah, let us know in our latest post, like what Kyra said, if you've had any falling outs or if you need like advice on a friendship situation. That might be fun if we have
like question answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, also if you have advice for how to make friends in a new city or something that we could share for other people who might be moving soon, maybe want some advice on how to make new friends as an adult. So yeah, that is it for this week, and we will see you all next week.
Bye. Bye.